Namaste. Today we are going to watch why Europe doesn't build skyscrapers. So this is an interesting thing that after reading this topic it just hit my mind that okay, I have also seen all the European videos where I've seen Barcelona and all the other cities. I think so London has some skyscrapers, but if you go to other parts of UK you will see, but UK is also not part of, I can say, Europe, not much, very much part of it. But if you see all the other parts of Europe like Spain, Italy, we won't see too many skyscrapers, and this is a constant theme around whole of Europe. I don't know why this happens, but this is kind of adds to the beauty of it, because whenever you see, like I've seen those square kind of you can say locality or localities in Spain, and those look very very beautiful from the top. No like big tall buildings and everything, but if you go to Dubai and all those places, skyscrapers are everywhere. And even in India too, like if you go to Mumbai, like those things are very well looked up to, like okay, we need to build those skyscrapers, we have that urge to it, and America is just full of it. So we will see why Europe doesn't build them, and do they have a hatred or they just don't like it.
Or maybe it is only because of the land or because of the weather, maybe because there comes a lot of maybe because people are fear of the skyscrapers. I don't know, I don't have any idea about it, but yes, we will got to know about after watching this video. But yes, we can say that in India, in Mumbai, when we look in Mumbai, so there are basically skyscrapers, and also in America too there are also skyscrapers. But yes, I have also seen in many movies or videos, basically where the in Europe there is no skyscrapers. Basically the locality are very small, and they have that their houses are not like tall, their houses are very wide. So yeah, let's watch this video and let's know about it.
It would be very interesting to know like why actually they don't build it. So let's watch this video.
Why aren't there many skyscrapers in Europe? Despite being one of the most developed, densely populated and economically prosperous continents, Europe has surprisingly few skyscrapers.
Yeah.
Particularly when compared to Asia and North America.
Why?
Of the 218 skyscrapers constructed on the continent to date, 66% of them are located in just
London,
5 cities.
Paris.
London, Paris, Frankfurt, Moscow and
Okay,
Istanbul.
just 5 cities.
Wow.
So why have other major European cities not embraced the skyscraper?
Yeah, why?
How do they thrive without the significant inner urban space and floor areas that these clever structures provide? And is everything about to change in our increasingly urbanized world?
No, Europe should not change. Europe should stay like that only. That's why it is so beautiful.
When skyscrapers first rose to prominence in the 19th century, first in Chicago and later in New York, many European cities were already firmly established, with grand historic buildings and public spaces that left little room for large new structures.
Okay.
Most of Europe's cities around that time were also more evenly zoned, and were not facing the high demand for floor space in key districts that typically drives high-rise development.
Yeah, less people, less problems.
Additionally, as the power and influence of North America began to grow, a cultural rivalry emerged between Americans who saw Europe's class system as outdated, and Europeans who saw some American ideals as eroding traditions and the European way of life.
Rivalry.
As a
Nice.
result, each continent became wary of adopting the other's concepts.
Nice.
While North America aims to become the model for a new age, Europe sought to preserve its heritage.
Very nice.
While this explains why skyscraper construction
Sure it
didn't
is.
initially catch on in Europe, it doesn't explain what has held the continent back since.
Yeah, since then. Post-war.
In the wake of the Second World War, many thought European cities would modernize and replicate the skyscrapers that were rising across North America.
Yeah. Why didn't
However,
they?
in Western Europe, where many cities lost landmark and historic structures, an overwhelming desire to restore what had been destroyed took hold.
Yeah, that desire
In
just
addition,
wakes
the
up the
lower population
nationalism.
of Europe at that time meant that the demand for floor area that principally drives skyscraper construction wasn't there.
Yeah.
As a
Wow.
result, modest structures replaced buildings that could not be saved or restored. Meanwhile, in Eastern Europe, the expanding Soviet Union's rebuild efforts consisted largely of mid-rise repetitive structures that sought to rehouse much of the population.
Okay.
It was during this time that Europe saw its first skyscrapers begin to rise, not in response to growth and prosperity, but in an effort by the Soviets to indicate their power and influence.
Oh, Soviets did it. Brusselization.
While Brussels has never constructed a true skyscraper, it is partly responsible for the lack of skyscrapers across the continent. Without any significant zoning regulations in place, the 1960s saw many buildings in the city demolished to make way for large modern structures that had little regard for architectural or cultural value. Recognising the damage this indiscriminate redevelopment was doing to the city, many prominent figures and architects coined the term Brusselization and lobbied to introduce new planning laws.
Okay.
These regulations significantly limited the scale of new buildings and required historic facades to be restored and incorporated into new developments, preserving the cultural fabric of the city.
Culture is much more important, yes.
The row in Brussels led to a general dislike for modern buildings across Europe, with many seeing them as bland or soulless.
So
In
less.
response,
Wow.
numerous cities adopted similar regulations and set aside controlled districts, like Paris's La Défense, to keep high-rise development away from historic centres.
Oh.
The urban age.
Yeah, I like it. I like Europe a
By
lot.
the start of the 21st century, attitudes around tall buildings were softening across the continent, as architectural trends moved away from box-like structures towards more unique designs, and as the world became increasingly globalised. Since the early 2000s, major financial centres like London, Paris, Moscow, Istanbul and Frankfurt have seen several skyscrapers rise, as demand for commercial space in their centres has increased.
More and more people are coming in.
By contrast, smaller European cities that have been experiencing more modest growth have turned their focus to the environment and improving living standards for citizens.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
In recent years, urban areas in Scandinavia and Central Europe have consistently ranked among the highest in the world for sustainability, happiness and well-being, while maintaining importance within their national economies.
Like, happiness is the most important thing.
However, skyscraper construction in the cities of today is no longer driven purely by economic growth or the need for commercial office space. With 60% of the global human population set to be living in urban areas by 2030, residential skyscrapers are now rising in prominence, particularly across Asia and North America. As many traditional rural-based industries become automated, millions are migrating into cities and major urban areas, driving significant demand for residential space that is often met with high-rise structures.
Okay.
Europe is not immune to this phenomenon, particularly in such a heavily globalised world, and with the continent's desire to keep up with the progress and economic growth of China and the US. As such, Europe could witness a skyscraper boom in the decades ahead.
Yeah.
However, with entire urban centres now being declared historically significant, and with the desire to retain as much culture and architecture as possible rightly holding strong up to the present day, the unique challenge facing future skyscraper construction in Europe is all to do with the past.
You cannot remove the past.
Yeah.
You have to maintain it.
Wow, what an informative video it was, and we got to know that why there is no skyscraper in the Europe. It is only because of the history of it, and we also got to know that Chicago was the first, state who basically where the a skyscraper was established. First skyscraper was established. After that, the London, Paris, and in other three states, skyscrapers started establishing. But on the and we also got to know that people started moving towards the to the cities. They started adopting urbanization, and the cities and the villages they left. Has not skyscraper only because they don't want to lose their history. They don't want to, do any thing with the history building, like we Indians. Like there is Red Fort, so we do not, like there is Red Fort and Taj Mahal in India, and there are also many buildings in India which we don't interrupt, which we don't create, construct, because we do not want to interrupt the history. So same as the European don't want to interrupt their history, they respect their history. And there were also things happened in their history, like the Brunization came, and the when the other countries attacked on the Europe, so many old buildings got vanished. So that's also the reason that why these people, respect their history building, past building. So yeah, that's the only reason why Europe doesn't have that much skyscraper. And yes, this video was so informative.
Yes, as far as India is concerned, like in India, we can see how like they are building all the skyscrapers and like big buildings in Mumbai. If you go to Mumbai, you will see that okay, and all the areas related to Mumbai Central and all these places have huge buildings, and everywhere you see just they are building skyscrapers. But if you go to Delhi, there is not much of skyscrapers in Delhi. There are a few, but not that much. And then if you go to like South India, like Hyderabad or Bangalore, then you will see a lot of high rises and a lot of skyscrapers. But other than that, if you go to other Indian towns, so even in my town, like in my city, that is Surat city, it is also one of the big cities only. But in my city, there is a rule of there is a regulation of not going above a certain height, and you cannot build skyscrapers in here. So I think so that is to maintain the kind of prestige or the look of the city, and we don't just want to be the same as Mumbai. So I think so this is the same European model. I think so European people are also like, okay, we are not going to destroy our history by building those big lifeless buildings. We are going to ensure that okay, we are also modern, but then also we maintain our same things. And that is why people just go to visit Europe a lot, because they just want to feel the essence of the old vibes and the houses and those colorful houses. Everybody I talk to who has been to Europe talks to me about the same thing, that how colorful those small houses are, how the tiny roads are, and everything is so beautiful out there. So I think so if that all will go, if we just construct big buildings out there. So what do you think about it? Do let us know in the comment section below. So do like, share, and
Subscribe.
bye.